Hello and welcome to Faces and Places across the United States. We are very sorry for all the technical difficulties, but we are here and we are ready to share with you a great session with our guest. So, welcome, and Makaela, welcome to our Faces and Places across the United States.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Glad to be here.
Great, Makaela. I think you need to turn your camera on so we can see you.
Okay, yes, I was
Oh,
there.
there you are. Okay, so we are very sorry and thank you for your patience and for being here today with us. We are really happy that you are able to stay for a little longer and share some amazing things with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so here on the map, we have two places because I want you to tell us where are you from and where are you now?
Sure. So I am originally from Southern California, a city called San Diego that is very close to the border with Mexico. And right now, I am living in Pennsylvania, which is on the other side of the United States.
Wow, so from coast to coast, pretty much.
Exactly.
How is the weather today in Pennsylvania?
So the winter is starting to come and the leaves are starting to change. So it's really beautiful. But the air is very crisp. And for someone from Southern California, it's a little chilly. It's about 45 degrees. So if I want to go outside, I have to wear my big coat.
Yes, it's getting a little cold here around Washington, D.C. And I know we have people watching us from everywhere, but because we had technical difficulties, it's going to take us a little bit to see um, where people are joining us from today. But we can get started and then we can go back to this question. So you told us that you are from California, but now live in Pennsylvania. So I hope you don't mind that I'm going to ask you a question about Pennsylvania. I believe that Pennsylvania is called the Keystone State. Could you tell us why?
Yeah, so it's called the Keystone State because it was part of the original states when the United States first started. And it's called the Keystone State because it was in the middle. And a keystone is something that's in the middle that holds everything together. So Pennsylvania was the original keystone in the original states for the United States.
Oh, wow, that is pretty interesting. It's something that I did not know, something that I learned today. So we have some questions from our audience and viewers. And on the next slide, we have Karima has a lot of questions for you. So hopefully we can get to some of them today. Do you prefer to go on vacation with relatives and friends? What kind of souvenirs do you buy when you're on vacation? What language do you speak? What languages do you speak? And also, if you have ever visited an African country, so
Ooh,
hopefully you can answer some of those questions. We
yes.
also have Rihanna Mohammed sharing with us um, things, interesting facts about Pennsylvania. So we have that Pennsylvania has Penn University, University of Pennsylvania, Benjamin Franklin. That we also know about turnpikes and tunnels, and most importantly, the Harvest Festival and Hershey. So we'll have to talk about that later. And on the next slide, I think we have a few more questions. We have Karima asking, what do you cook for in special holidays? And does the food cost too much money? And what kind of preparations do you do? And we have Hannah Lady saying it will be an interesting discussion. So hopefully Hannah Lady is here with us, watching us. Okay, so Makaela, we want to talk to you about holidays. Holidays are special days or celebrations that are unique to the cultural traditions of a group of people or country or countries. We have many holidays in the world, but some are very special and unique to the United States. So I want you to tell me, what is your favorite American holiday and why?
My favorite American holiday is American Thanksgiving. And it is my favorite holiday because it is the opportunity that I have every year to show my friends and my family how important they are to me, how much I love them, and how thankful I am to have them in my life.
Oh, very nice. And I think you also shared a few things that you do that day in something important. But before that, what is the meaning of Thanksgiving? Can you tell us what is the history behind this holiday?
Absolutely. So, the history behind Thanksgiving is something that every American child learns in school because it is so important to our American culture. The first Thanksgiving happened because when the immigrants came from Europe to North America, they were in a whole new place and they didn't really know how to grow the food properly or how to store it. So when the winter started to come, they really were in trouble because they were running out of food. And the native people to the land, they shared their food with these new immigrants. And the sharing of that food allowed them to survive the winter and eventually become the United States. So, this is the first moment that on our land we had this sharing of food and this welcoming of the neighbor and the acceptance of the new people, regardless of where you're from or what you look like.
It's such a nice story. I really always enjoyed listening to the story and also reading the story to my students. So, can you tell us a little bit about what is something that you do during that holiday and what kind of food do you prepare?
So, Thanksgiving is really well known for a day of eating. So, it's a day that you feast. And one of the big things that is very important on Thanksgiving is turkey, but there are many other things that are important as well. And as everyone can see, these are typical foods that you eat at Thanksgiving. So the first picture is of biscuits. And all of these things I actually made with my family during Thanksgiving. So this first picture is of homemade biscuits. And the second picture is of cornbread, which is a very traditional American food. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's bread that has corn in it, and it's delicious. We actually put honey on top of it, and it's a favorite of both children and adults. And the last picture is of squash, which is a vegetable that is a seasonal vegetable that's very popular during this season. So usually for Thanksgiving, we have a lot of dishes that include different types of squash.
Wow, that looks really delicious. Like you said, we tend to eat a lot of food on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about a story of your grandparents? I think we have a picture here, and you mentioned that this is a very important holiday for your grandparents, but especially your grandmother. Can you tell us why?
Yes, absolutely. So this is a picture and of my grandparents, and they are a very important part of my life, as I'm sure many grandparents are for a lot of people. But I think this is a very special holiday for my grandmother because her family comes from Mexico, and uh, this was one of the first holidays that she celebrated as an American because it is a cultural holiday. It is not a religious holiday. And when she came here and married my grandfather, this was something that he said we're going to do together, and she embraced wholeheartedly. And since then, this has been something that she loves to do because it's the moment that family gets to come together and she gets to see all of her children and all of her grandchildren and all of her nieces and nephews. And of course, all grandmothers like to do this. And so this is a guaranteed time each year that she gets to do that.
Oh, that's such a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing. You also shared with me about a story that you had of celebrating this holiday and your father inviting somebody.
Yes. So one of the main pillars or very important parts of this holiday is making sure that everyone has the opportunity to celebrate it. And that means that many times people will invite others that maybe are far away from their families or aren't able to otherwise celebrate with the people that are close to them. And they'll invite them to their home to enjoy the holiday with their family. And when I was very young, my father had a friend at work who was very far away from his family and didn't have anywhere to go. So he invited him to join our family for this holiday. And nobody else in my family knew this man. It was just my father. But when he came, he fit right in. He was just like a member of the family almost instantly. And more than 20 years later, he still comes every single year to Thanksgiving with our family. But now he brings his wife and children. So it's a beautiful blending of families together.
Oh, that is so nice, and it's exactly what Thanksgiving is about. If you're just joining us, I'm sorry again for our technical difficulties we had earlier, but we are here with Makaela, who is joining us from Pennsylvania, and she's talking to us about her favorite American holidays. We have people watching us from the Philippines. We have Labra Halpi from the Philippines. Hello. We have Vesna from Slovenia. We have Pautawasai from Laos. We also have Rashidi from Afghanistan. We have also somebody saying hello from Slovakia. We have Lourdes saying hello from Quito. We have Yoshiko saying hello from Japan, and Vero saying hello from Madagascar. We also have Tata de Gris saying hello from Rwanda. So this is just to name a few of the many countries that we have people watching us from today. We have Mohammed saying hello from Morocco, and also Mohammed saying hello from Iraq, and Rihanna saying hello from India. Okay, so now that we talked about this really cool holiday of Thanksgiving, there is another holiday coming up, and you also share with me that this is a holiday that you really like. So, can you tell me which one?
Yes, so another holiday that I really enjoy is Halloween. And I enjoy it in part because this is also another cultural holiday that people from all backgrounds celebrate. And I really enjoy seeing all of the children dress up in costumes. You can see some pictures in front of you right now of kids dressing up as maybe their favorite superhero or a princess or a pirate. And this is a time that people get to run around and collect candy and enjoy pretending to be somebody else for a little while.
Yes, and we also have here, these are pictures of my neighborhood actually. When I was going to interview you, I went around and I took some pictures. Can you tell me, why do you think people do this kind of thing, this Halloween decorations?
Sure. So starting from the right of the screen, you can see a lot of pumpkins. And this is something that's very traditional during Halloween, and that's to carve pumpkins. And what people do is they take the inside of the pumpkin out, they make a design on the outside, and they put a candle on the inside. And at night, when you light the candle, it illuminates the design and it looks beautiful. So people will do that with a lot of different designs. So you can see people becoming very creative with what they want to display. And then sometimes people go in other directions with their decorations. In the middle picture, you can see gigantic spiders on the building, which it's trying to be a little bit scary, but not too scary. And you can see tombstones on the steps. And in the final picture, all the way to the left, you can see skeletons hanging out, kind of like what people do. And if you notice, they're also wearing masks. So I think whoever put those skeletons out wanted to be a little bit funny.
Yeah, I'm always pretty impressed with people's creativity during this holiday. And I wanted to ask you, talking about creativity, what are the best memories you have of celebrating this holiday? And I think we have a picture to go with that of you dressed up for Halloween. Tell us all about it.
So children are not the only ones that like to dress up during this time. Adults can dress up too. And I really enjoy dressing up in costumes. So that's one of the reasons why I love this holiday, because it's an opportunity for me to dress up and kind of pretend to be a kid again. So the picture that you can see here is me dressed up as one of my favorite characters from Star Trek. And I was not the only one that dressed up. This was actually at work. And lots of people dressed up. This was the theme, was Star Trek and Star Wars. So you can see in the background that we actually decorated the entire office. And I'm a teacher, so the students at the school could come in and take pictures, and they dressed up in lots of costumes. So it's a really fun time for everyone.
That looks really, really fascinating. And I'm sure you are a good fan of Star Wars, watching all the movies and all that. So you also share with me, this is my last question. You share with me about a special holiday in another country. So you have lived overseas, and you shared a beautiful picture of you in another country celebrating a holiday. Can you tell me the country and what was this about?
Yes. So I was an English language fellow in two countries. Actually, the first one was in Niger, which is in West Africa. And then the other country is Cote d'Ivoire, which is also in West Africa. And that's where this picture was taken. I was in a town called Grand Bassam. And I was very fortunate that I got an invitation to celebrate this holiday that is unique to this city in Cote d'Ivoire. And it's called Abissa, and it is a moment of forgiveness, of rebirth, and of celebration. So it's an entire week of different types of celebrations, but Saturday is always the biggest party. And so I was on the street and I was watching all of the parades go by, and some people offered to give me face paint just like everyone else so I could celebrate like a local. So this is the picture that I took of the face paint that this person gave me, because I thought it was so beautiful and such a special moment.
That is really nice. Okay, I have some questions from our audience. I know we're running out of time, and I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but let's see if we can get to some of these questions, Makaela. They have, one of them is, what if adults are knocking at the door and asking from candy? Is it possible to get candy as an adult?
That's a great question. So usually the adults that come to the door are with children, usually parents, because the kids are very young. And it's not normal for an adult to come by themselves. So if an adult comes and asks for candy, we usually say something like, "Aren't you a little too old to be trick-or-treating?"
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say. At the end of the day, a lot of the parents end up eating the candy too.
Yes.
Okay, so we have another question about Thanksgiving. Have you ever participated in the Macy's parade in New York? And what is so special about it?
So I grew up in California, which is on the other side of the country. So I never got to go there, but part of the tradition is to watch the parade on TV. So I participated from a distance. And this was something that my family would do. We would watch the Macy's Day Parade, and we watch the floats go by and see all the really cool things. And I think it's important because this is a tradition that has been going on for a very long time. So I think it's part of the American culture now.
Okay, we have a few comments. We have Jaime saying Halloween has become a worldwide celebration, especially in Latin America. And we also have Van saying, yeah, I like Thanksgiving too. And we have Temul saying, Halloween is my favorite holiday. Okay, the last question I have for you today from Kale Linares. What is your wishing for Thanksgiving and family?
Oh, so my wish, especially this year, is that my family and friends stay in good health, because I am so thankful that I have wonderful people in my life, and I wish that they have the best of health and that I can continue to celebrate more Thanksgivings with them in the future.
Okay, Makaela, believe it or not, our time is up. And we really thank you for being here today and also for your patience as we were dealing with technical difficulties. We also like to thank our audience for such a lively engagement and participation today. We hope that you continue to share your ideas with us using our social media pages. And don't forget to check out our amazing resources. We have lots of resources, especially these days of Halloween and Thanksgiving, that you might want to check out. So again, Makaela, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I wish you a very happy Halloween and a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much, Sandra. You too. And thanks everybody for listening today.
We look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks for our next session of Faces and Places across the United States. We encourage you to continue to engage with our community virtually. And that's all for now. Bye, everybody. Happy Halloween and happy Thanksgiving.